Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you are doing awesome today. It is Tuesday, February 4th, and I have quite a lot to catch you up on. It's all very good news. The first, most important thing that you should know is that today I saw a double rainbow. True story. I was taking my kid to school this morning, and there it was. The most epic, most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Not just one rainbow, but two. It was almost identical to the classic YouTube video. It was the jam. And if you don't believe me, go check out my social. I put in my stories on Instagram and Facebook, and it's just glorious. My kids had no idea what I was quoting, but it was amazing. Because if you think about it, that video is over 10 years old. For those of you who know what the heck I'm talking about, over 500 million views. But anyway, so yeah, all the way. Absolutely phenomenal. But hey, guys, I'm so excited. I'm always super excited to hang out with you guys. So for the next 2 hours, I got 3 projects, and there's no way I'll actually finish them, but I'm just going to you guys get to be a part of this crazy ride of life. Some other huge updates. My wife is super pregnant, and the official due date is tomorrow, Wednesday. So that'll be 40 weeks. So any second now, I'm about to drop off the face of the earth for like a week. So just get ready. But the other side of that equation is you might be noticing on YouTube that I have at 10 a.m. Man, I gotta stop spitting into this dang microphone. You might be noticing that every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time that a new video is dropping. Now, granted, these are all old videos from 2018 and 2019, a few from 2017. These are old videos that I deleted but kept on my hard drive back when I was trying to figure out my branding and all that jazz. But those are coming back every single day until all of them are re-uploaded. There's something like 45 videos left, so they're coming. So if you have a favorite video from the last few years that you haven't seen pop up yet, it's probably coming. And I'm trying to space them out to where it's not all of one type of content every day. And I certainly didn't want to just upload all 50 plus the same day. I don't think that's very fair or interesting to anybody. So the goal is to kind of retitle them, rebrand them, and hopefully provide more value to you guys. And one video in particular that I know a lot of you guys have liked is the Zelda chord video, which is where I talk about crazy things like, let's see if I can figure out my screens here. Crazy things like, playing the Zelda chord. It's a really bad piano to play it on, but you kind of get the idea. So there's that going on in the background over the next, I guess, month and a half. You're going to notice that every single day more videos are coming. So yay! But more on the YouTube front, something I'm also really pumped about is I officially have hired a pro videographer, an editor, as part of my team for 2020. And so you're going to, pretty soon in the next couple of weeks, you're going to start noticing a significant upgrade in the quality of my videos, and kind of the new schedule that is going to be moving forward for this year is Tuesdays and Thursdays, just like this. We're going to do live composing videos where I give a few updates where I can, but we're just going to be working. I'm going to be showing you exactly the stuff I'm working on. We're going to finish up projects and do it live, answer your questions as you have. I know that you guys have really enjoyed that process, and it's been a lot of fun for me, because this can be a very lonely profession if you don't talk to other people. So those would be Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Haven't figured that out yet, but around this time for a couple hours. And then Wednesdays are going to be the produced videos that come out, and you're going to notice a huge quality bump in those. Because right now I'm just streaming from webcams, and it's the best I can do for a live situation without screwing up too much, because you can't really produce these too much. But the main thing here is that I can answer your questions, we can have Q&A, and I can work, because this is what I'm doing anyway as I'm working on projects. And so I hope that this is beneficial for you guys as we jump in. But yeah, let's do this thing, guys. I'm pumped. So we have 3 projects on the slate today. I do want to hit them in order of priority. Number 1, I'm working on trying to finish up this little film score. It's for an episode with Fee called Rev1, which is episode 6. Find a different they. I sent the finished track from last week to the producer. They really liked it. They said it's perfect. Just fix the end, make it a little bit more climactic. And for those of you who watched that entire live stream, you'll notice that I literally did a classic copy and paste. So I was kind of expecting that. I didn't know if I could get away with it or not. Not to say that I was withholding any quality, but a lot of times literally copying and pasting stuff solves so much. So for example, this end here, you'll notice how my structure is A, B, C, D, and then A prime. So what I did is I made all new sections back to back to back, and then this final section is just a repetition of the A, which I think is the appropriate choice based on the content of the video. But then as soon as we get to this end, I just need to do something else to make it feel more final. So let's do that right here, right now. And if you guys have questions about the process, ask. But of course, go back and watch those live streams from last week and you'll get a better sense of why I chose what I did.
Being liked, but it's much more fulfilling when it's the real you they like. So if you ever have to choose, it's better to be cool with your goals than to be cool in the eyes of those who don't even respect you. And if you can practice that mindset long enough and stick with it, you'll eventually become way too valuable to go for too long without making good friends. So, the next time you find yourself saying, they never support me, or they never listen to me, or they don't want to see me succeed, I want you to replace those words with the following. From now on, I choose to surround myself with people who not only accept me for who I am, but who respect me enough to push me towards the person I need to become.
Cool, and we have the end logo, which they typically put at the end of these videos, the FEE logo, Foundation of Economic Education. So I can see where the producer's coming from, that everything fits, but this last section, I bet it has to do with this elongated chord. So my solution to solving this earlier, kind of this hanging moment of just holding onto this chord for a very long time, it works musically, but I would agree that dramatically it doesn't have enough oomph. It doesn't have enough finality. So let's see what we can do here.
To replace those words with
Let's figure out what chord this is. Anybody remember what key this was? I think we're in G sharp minor, which is E major.
on.
So we're just doing this little descending chord.
To replace the
So E major, E, D sharp minor.
on. I choose to surround myself with people.
Let's mute the VO so we don't go crazy. We try to talk over him. Minor 3. So that C sharp major. Nothing wrong with that because it's major. But I wonder what else we could do. Let's see what my final chord is. So I actually went to a G sharp major at the very end with an emphasis on that B sharp. That's right, I said B sharp. It's not a C. So we're going. I'm wondering if I can just skip that chord altogether. Instead of doing that thing, it doesn't feel as final. I can see why. So this is actually a music theory conundrum where, for those of you who are aware of how a traditional chord structure works, you always want to land on a 1 when possible to feel final. So here's a situation where even though the producer is not speaking a musical language, they're just saying that the feeling does not feel final. So what I can translate that as a musician is it's not landing on a 1 chord, because I'm being what it means is that really I'm being a little too snooty, if you will. I'm being a little too complex. Let's solve the problem instead of trying to sound smart. So what I'm actually doing, let's take a look here. This is a fun little music theory issue that I hope some of you can appreciate. So we're in the key area of E major. So what that means is, even if I'm in a minor key for the bulk of this thing, which I am, meaning I'm playing a minor 6, 5, 4. So I guess I'm totally wrong that we're actually in a B major. So that's the real key of this thing if we're analyzing it. So what I'm doing is I'm playing a minor 6, which is a G sharp minor, a 5, which is F sharp major, E, which is a 4 chord. So traditionally we should go back to a B. So what I feel is going on here is the producer feels that when I go to the A sharp or the G sharp major instead of the B that we're expecting, it doesn't feel final. It doesn't have the conclusion that we're seeking. Isn't that crazy? It's such a simple thing, but that's the translation that I as a composer have to make. I have to say, okay, my client does not feel something that he's supposed to feel. So what can I do musically to solve that? So really the solution, even though it's the boring solution, the solution here is to end on a blasted 1 chord. An actual 1 chord, not a modulation. So here's what I should do. Let me compare for you guys. I think this is pretty cool. It's a good learning moment. What I'm currently doing is I'm playing 6, 5, 4. No, I'm not, just kidding. I'm doing 4, 4, 3, major 2 to a major 6. You see how weird that is? That's such a complex, over-the-top modulation thing, which works in video game music, I'll be honest. But in film music, man, there's rules to follow. And I feel like producers, it's not a bad thing, but the music is not at the forefront. This is literally background music. So yeah. So to answer Kulin's question in the chat, yep, basically just end in tonic. As lame as that might feel as a composer, because I'm someone who went and got 2 degrees in music, so I have all this extra knowledge of music theory, which here's a prime example of when music theory gets in your way. When you overthink it just a little too much. So let's scale it back. Let's be simple, and I'll update you guys whether or not he likes the new edition, which is going to look like this. So I'll still do the 4, 4 minor 3. So now I have to figure out, dang, how to get back to 1. So does that feel final enough? I don't know. So in music theory, the way to get from the way to emphasize tonic, your 1 chord, is to play a 5 before it. So for me, that's going to be, let's go to my keys here. That's going to be the 5 chord, which is F sharp major. So I wonder what I can do here. Yep, that's going to be the solution. So I can keep my little chord progression of going E. And yes, Merkel in the audience, this is live. So glad you're here. E, D sharp, F sharp. I know it doesn't feel like the coolest thing to do, but it's gonna work because it solves the problem. So let's get it in. Man, that's such a compliment, Merkel, that you questioned if this was live or not. Is that because I'm cutting screens and stuff? I hope so. That's pretty epic. That's my goal, is to make it feel as produced as possible, knowing that we're still going live. So here we go. So the way to solve this first is let's solo just the track that we want to edit. Because if I have everything else playing, it's just gonna be a mess. Because they're all playing different chords, right? To the D sharp, to the F sharp, which is already unexpected. Let's kill all of the pedals, my automation data, because that's dumb to keep that rolling. Just hang on it for a second. I'll do something interesting. Then we'll do the big B. That's probably going to solve this. Leave it hanging. Leave it hanging. Pedal off now. Cool. Let me fix that little piano moment with a little quantization. Do that with the 8th note. Boom, 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 chickity boom, boom. And then if you're using Cubase like me, you gotta merge your 2 takes together. If you're using something like Digital Performer, you can just leave them. It's pretty cool. Let's hear that with just...
I choose to surround myself with people who not only accept me for who I am, but who respect me enough to push me towards the person I need to become.
Cool. And I was already told by the producer that they're going to, when they do the edit, they're going to stretch out that moment to fit my music regardless, so I don't have to time it perfectly. But as long as it's, you know, in the black zone, we're good. That's why I like to time out my markers and use my, it's a personal shortcut, but I like to use the left and right little bracket keys on my keyboard. So right here, left and right, and that way I can move one measure at a time in my timeline. I do it in all my DAWs. It's such a fast way to scrub through stuff and to make quick edits that are attached to the grid by bars. And in Cubase, that's just a move by bar. Move the, whatever this thing is called, the transport by a bar. So now let's clean up. Let's just add to the mix. So what I mean by that is let's leave piano soloed, leave whatever else needs to be changed. So we're going to change the gravity pad here. Yeah, so this is going to be, I can literally just take this and transpose it. Yeah, so this should be F sharp. If anyone's following at home, I'm just changing my chords. Thankfully, I've played enough piano in my life to know all my different inversions, so that's a pretty quick process for me. Just a pad in the background. And then last one, B. I just want just piano, solo piano. All right, I'm happy with that. Definitely want the Ava sub kit, the big thud in the background. Let's fix the bass. I'm gonna move him up to an F sharp. Might just go down to an F sharp. So I feel like the strings are going to be where this builds, and probably the horns as well. So let's try to add. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm actually going to do a 4 chord to the 1 chord. I think in this situation, because I've modulated already and messed with our ears, we don't know what a 5 chord feels like. So we're just gonna do a 4 to a 1. It's a very pop thing to do. So let me alter that, and I think you'll agree to make that small edit. So instead of an F sharp, I'm just gonna go back to the E. That's fine. That's an easy transpose. Just do 2 half steps down with any of my material. That should work. Sounds like this. Or I can build. Building, building. Oh wow, it's a super long build. I didn't realize how long that was. So it's a 4-bar build. So yeah, let's really make that do something. Cool. I feel like this horn, I don't know if I'm gonna use it or not.
Surround myself with people who not only
Also this. We're definitely on the right track. So let's finish it up. I know it's kind of quiet, but that's the point. It's not supposed to be super in your face. But you can kind of hear these little high arps. Sound pretty cool in my ears. So I feel like a horn build or something. Let's fill that out. Put that little second in there, that little two. Question from Merkel: do I recommend any Evident courses? I've never taken any. Has anyone in the chat ever taken any to recommend? What are you looking to get better at? Don't they do trailer music? So what I'm trying to do right now is add a horn line that takes the E chord, right? The 4 chord, and it does something with it. That way we don't just sit and wait forever. I need to click pretty bad for that. I can't hear it. There it is. It's a little quiet, but it works. I also dropped out my strings completely there, which don't help. So I'm gonna do 2 things here. Number 1, I'm going to add a legato string line to mirror the euphoniums. That'll help a lot. Wow, those strings are very, very quiet. Let me turn them up. Instead, my mixer, I'm gonna leave the quantization alone. That helps a lot. And again, I recognize that this is kind of soft. I'm about to put an ozone mastering plugin on that's gonna beef it up a little bit. The whole mix. So just kind of bear with the quiet for a sec. So I want to match that the lower strings. All right, so let's get our grid to 16ths. Do the best we can to quantize that. It's a bit of a mess. I recognize that. But such is the case usually whenever you just start a patch. All right, didn't want to, but I gotta quantize that just so it fits the other strings better. And let me go ahead and turn on my ozone patch to show you what I had before I turned it in to the client. So over here in my mixing window, just a bunch of reverb, 2C Aether by 2C Audio, just a Hall, about 23% mix across the board. You can choose to do this as, you can do one reverb for the entire orchestra, or you can kind of put your own reverbs wherever you want them. I kind of bounce between the two. And then also EQ for each of my channels, just depending on what instruments are playing. That helps a lot. And then over here, let's turn ozone on. It's just a little mastering plugin that I like to use at times. Helps make things more epic. So essentially, it's a little EQ that boosts the highs, but decreases the mids, a stereo imager to help spread out the mix a little bit, a tiny compressor. Now, I say tiny, it does its job, but it compresses it to negative 20 dB at the different frequency ranges. It doesn't do a lot, but it helps to keep everything in place. Dynamic EQ, same thing, but specifically based on the EQ range of this low to mid range, and then a maximizer set to a 4 dB boost, but it limits it at negative 0.1. So it's pretty awesome. So you'll hear a pretty significant difference, even just this one section. So let's go back. Ozone's pretty amazing. I usually use Ozone for epic music because it just beefs it up with so little work. Very, very awesome plugin there. I'll probably do a review of that sometime to dive deeper. There it is. Doesn't that feel so much more satisfying as a conclusion? And I didn't really change much. It was the chord progression of all things. And I didn't think about that when I was just, well, copying and pasting, to be honest. And I like that it's now different, that I've duplicated the A section from the beginning of the track, but I've also changed the end to where it has its own character and obviously gives a much more final statement here. So the only thing I want to do remaining is to fix up the timing. I heard the strings come in early. Okay, so it's actually the horns coming in early. I didn't quantize them, that's why. The euphoniums, which I like a lot. Quantizing is such a beautiful art. That works just fine. The only thing that feels a little bit weird is the horn section. Can horns double that octave? Let's try going an octave higher. Oh yeah, that's the solution. Let's I don't want to add harmony, but I do want to double the octaves. Piece of cake thing to do. Literally copy paste, shift up, and then just slide it into place. Because this was slightly off, I do want to manually, see how they're slightly off. I want to manually click and drag. If I hold Control on my keyboard, you can kind of see it. My thumb over here, I can click and drag it exactly where I want to. Even though the grid is on in my session, it acts as if it's not on when you hold Control. Woohoo! As my computer dies. It's because I'm Ozone is a very, very RAM heavy and CPU heavy plugin. It's not the best thing to stream with. Like it literally just craps out on you anytime you use Ozone. It's probably the worst plugin in existence to stream with. Let me turn it off. Even if I bypass it, it still craps out, but that's okay. I like this a lot. So while I bounce this track, let me show you how I do that. So over here, left screen, you'll notice that I already have my level set, and you can kind of see my microphone talking over here. That's totally irrelevant because I use my microphone through OBS, which is where I'm recording my my live stream. But I already have my level set to, I adjust those as I go, as we write music together. The only plugin that will not stay is this guy right here, the Voxingo recorder. I want to disable that. That is what allows you guys to hear the music, but I don't want that to screw up my CPU usage or anything. But what I do whenever I bounce for film, if this was, let's be honest, if this was any other DAW, I would bounce it straight to the film so that the producer and the director, such, they would have my music to their video, and I would turn down the music about 8 or 9 dB from the audio of the VO, because you never want to put that audio at the same level, or else they'll automatically hate it because it's their picture. You don't want to screw it up with loud music. But what I'll do is, because it's Cubase is the only DAW, this is like its biggest Achilles heel, is it can't bounce to video, which is so stupid. But I hope that they will do that in the future. So instead, I just have to hit that mute button on the VO. Let's hit my bounce. Oops, wrong DAW. I do that every once in a while. Hit the wrong key command. I'm so used to Pro Tools. All right, Control Shift B, that's mine. And we're just gonna, what is this thing called? Find a different they. Let's select the tracks you want to bounce. So in this case, it's Cubase, so stereo out. That'll do fine. And I'm just eyeballing my left screen, making sure that my my master channel, my music channel, is set to 0 dB. I don't want to be less than that, and that my Ozone is on. And in this situation, I just bounce it as is. I don't worry about the naming conventions or anything. But since this is actually version 2, I'll put a V2 beside it. Let's export. It won't take super duper long. It'll take like a couple minutes, but we can sit and chat while we're doing that, and I'll talk about what we're doing next. But let me answer a couple questions here in the chat. So Faction member is asking about, or is talking about the Evident courses. I love what he said. He's talking about that. He's learned all that he needs from YouTube, from myself, Alex McCullough, different channels like Christian Henson, Paul Thompson, 8-Bit Music Theory, and I'm right there with you, man. I'm a big believer in learning from YouTube. And if you're going to be a composer, you got to be a self-learner. Got to be someone that goes out and just learns stuff, because you can go to school and you can learn, you can take courses and learn, and there's different ways to learn for everybody. But I think that you got to figure out what works for you. But at the end of the day, if you want to be on the cutting edge of what's going on in the industry, and if you always want to be ahead of the game and not behind, then you need to be a leader in the industry, not someone who's always consuming from others. If you ever watch anything by Hans Zimmer or you listen to his interviews, he talks a lot. I mean, he's obviously one of the industry leaders. He's so, and even Christian Henson, since you follow him on YouTube, people like that, industry leaders usually recommend to not follow others. You can take their advice with a grain of salt, as you should with me. The way that I do things is not the only way to do it. It's just my way. I hope that these videos are helpful for you. At the same time, I don't want you to really copy me. I'd rather you pick and choose things that you like about my workflow and you put them into yours, and do the same thing with other composers. I know Christian Henson is really big on don't listen to film music, and I would actually agree with that. It's really funny if you take a look at my music playlists, like on iTunes and Spotify and stuff. They've changed a lot over the years. It used to always be like nonstop film music, video game music, soundtracks. But in more recent years, it's pop music and it's, rock and all kinds of things. It's kind of everything. It's super eclectic. So I just think it's really interesting that my tastes have changed a lot. I like to be influenced by a little bit of everything instead of always listening to video game music and film music and TV music, because it's very simplified stuff. It's good to know what other people are doing, but I wouldn't kind of make that all that you listen to. And then as far as, courses go, obviously, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here, but I am a course creator. I'm a best-selling course creator on Udemy. And I have plans to make more courses down the line through my own website and a course page. That's actually something I want to do this year, is to make it a little bit more streamlined and more branded. But courses are not for everybody. What I do here on YouTube will always be free, but I also like to provide opportunities for you guys to go deeper. And you've heard me say this before, and I'll say it again, that I like to give away my best for free, always. Because I know that there's something about the authenticity about it all, that you guys don't want to see me holding anything back. What good does that do anybody? But my hope is that if you buy my book or you buy my courses, that, buy my sample instruments, that kind of thing, that you're doing it to go deeper and to have something tangible that's like, this is the curated version of everything else that this person does. And so that's why you don't hear me sell stuff, really. I have to sell, I have to sell to make a living, but I try to be as authentic as possible, and I give away stuff for free all day, every day. And that's my mantra, is to just be a helpful person, serve other people, and you'll always get work, and you'll always find connections with people that are authentic and real, and you cut out all the crap. Which, by the way, here on YouTube, would I love to have 1 million subscribers? Yeah, that'd be amazing. But I don't know if that's going to happen, because what I do is so authentic and real. I'm not selling fluff, and I don't care about clickbait. I don't care about a lot of the things that, like, I'm not trying to sell, if that makes sense. I just want you guys to be served. But anyway, woohoo! Thanks for the kind words, Faction and Peter. You guys are awesome. Cool. My session has loaded. So a little way that I can check this. Let me pop it back to my face. Hey, what's up? I'm going to close out my Cubase session real quick. And let me pop over to this other screen. So I can test this out real quick by just playing it. Let's listen to the end. Let's see if it actually feels climactic. Cool. I'm really happy with that. I think that turned out really cool. So I'll make sure I get that to the client ASAP once we're done here and see what they think about it. I think that was a good thing. And look, it only took 40 minutes. Woohoo! Oh, you're so funny, Peter. Yeah, just a fun little thing. Because I'm me and I'm an artist and I get bored with things very easily. This is actually the Bing, if anyone uses Bing anymore, for their search engine instead of Google. But Bing has a daily picture. And so I have an app on my PC that every single day in the morning before I get up, it changes my desktop picture to something really cool. It's actually super inspiring to me, and it actually helps, on the days I don't want to work. It just kind of inspires me. It's just a cool little art piece that I'm super inspired by colors and by art, and that's just something cool to me. So you guys pick stuff that I hope you'll find some rotating desktop pictures too. But moving on, so the next piece that we need to do, despite my, whatever you want to call it, despite my desire to not want to really do it at this moment, do you guys ever feel that way? Do you ever have projects that you're like, man, I'm not feeling inspired to do that right now, but you got to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. You got to meet our deadlines. You got to deal with that. In fact, oh my gosh, if you're wondering what I'm doing right now, here, I'll show you. Anybody ever get this beautiful menu where you're like trying to freaking force quit something? Oh, good. Cubase is weird. It doesn't always close, so you have to force quit it sometimes, at least in this current version. So that's kind of annoying. But anyway, back to the show. I told you guys, this is real stuff. I'm just doing my thing here. Let me make sure we're all set. But yeah, guys, so what I want to do next is I want to jump into Pro Tools for another project I'm working on. Now, I will be totally transparent that this is a really cool project and I've really enjoyed working on it. My frustration, it's an age-old frustration that we as composers have to face. How many revisions is too many revisions, right? How many rejections is too many rejections? And I actually want to do a proper video on that subject within the next couple months, proper produced video. Well, I want to talk about that. I want to unpack that because that's a huge issue for composers. Because sometimes it really hurts. We don't talk about it, but it's a real thing. Getting rejected over and over and over again, not being good enough. That's a real thing as a composer. So I want to dive into that just as an artist in general. Having to make a million revisions is no fun. So here's a situation, here's a project that I've really enjoyed working on, but this is like revision 7 or something like that. We're going to get it. And I'm hoping that with your help here today, we can really, really get it. Thankfully, I have my notes. Out of discretion, I'm not going to show you the notes, but I am going to at least jump over here to my screen, and so that you can hear what I'm doing. Let me show you my mixer within Pro Tools. For those of you who remember, I've talked about this before. Let me turn ozone off so we don't all die. Come on. Wow, I think we're dying. Bum 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 bum. Oh, fine, whatever. There we go. Okay, so for those who remember my video a while ago where I talked about how to live stream from Pro Tools, it's a little different than other plugins or other DAWs. You have to load this thing called Meta Plugin, which is a paid plugin, and from there it's a wrapper that you can load any plugin you want. So from there, I'm going to load the free Voxingo recorder. Just kind of drag it in, connect your little outlets, your ins and your outs, and then you're good to go. So this is what I have to do every time I want to stream from Pro Tools. So it's a little extra step, but it's okay. Not the worst thing in the world. If it means that you guys can hear me, fantastic. So let's go to a little J bridge thingy. Go to MME. Select my audio interface, bit depth 24, and hit start. Woohoo! So now you can hear, hopefully, let's play. Test her out. So now I'm gonna go here. Yeehaw, skippy. All right, so let's do this thing. So what I'm doing right now is, this is For Dark Dice. This is a podcast, an audio drama fantasy podcast, which is blown up, absolutely blown up recently. They have a lot of listeners, and I am so thankful that the creative team there, they have some high standards, and I love that about them. I will never complain. Let me move this around a little bit. I will never complain about their quest for quality. So when I don't get something right, they let me know about it. And then I say, absolutely, I will fix that immediately. So here we are. Let's do it. So this is a 5-minute tune. It's very, very long. And there's some issues we got to solve. So really the biggest issue here is we're dealing with audio versus MIDI. So for any of you who work with audio, it's just a different animal. Audio has way more flexibility because it's a permanent piece of real estate, so to speak, that you can stretch, you can time stretch it, you can pitch stretch it if you want. But the danger of audio is every time you change it, it becomes a little bit more compressed, it becomes a little bit less quality. It's exactly like taking a WAV file, turning it into an MP3, and then turning it into a smaller MP3, and then trying to, get the quality back if you stretch it back to a WAV. It doesn't work that way. If you keep degrading the quality and keep messing with something, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And so that's the danger in here. So this was a very unique project where I was asked to take a previous composition from a different composer, which was used as the main theme for a previous season of the show. And now in this new season, new episode, they want the same main theme using the exact same stem recordings, but then they want all this new music on top of it. So the challenge is, how do we take the original audio and work with it in a way that still makes sense, because I have to use MIDI on top of the audio to work. So it's a nightmare project, but it's also a lot of fun, and I'm excited that we're going to get this thing done. So really the biggest challenge here right now is, just look at the insanity of, this is the cleaned up version, but you should have seen it like a few days ago. It was like thousands upon thousands of audio files with crossfades and all of this stuff. Because what I was trying to do is I'm trying to make it fit within a tempo. You can't hear my click, but I'm in 138 BPM, 6/4 times. So click, 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 click. The original stems that I got from the team, from the original composer, they were not recorded to click. So that's the real big danger here. And I'm supposed to write music on top of it. And really the only sensible way to write music is to have a click, is to have some sort of tempo if you're going to be adding, especially percussion elements and new melodic material. So you just a lot of time stretching. So for anyone who knows Pro Tools, there's this beautiful tool up here. If you hold down on this little selector tool, it's called TCE, and it lets you time stretch. It's called time compression editor, I think. And it allows you to take any region and stretch it left or right, and then it will actually speed up or slow down just that clip. It's an incredible tool. I've never seen any other DAW do that. So a big fan of that. So I like to stay in grid because I'm dealing with tempo. I like to keep my bars and beats as the selection tool so that I always know what bar I'm in, but I can also see what time I'm in as it plays. So for the most part, it's sounding really solid. You'll also notice that I turned off ozone so my computer doesn't crash while we do this. So it won't be as loud as it will be later, but let's fix some stuff. Yeah. And you guys are asking all kinds of questions that I can't answer. Y'all are funny. So good news is they like the beginning a lot. So that's all solid. Let me turn my grid back on. There we go. Like the first minute a lot. So I've been told that this choir piece has to go. So let's just kill it. Ready, set, die. Bye choir. We had a cool choir, but no go. And that's a danger of choir. For any of you who write music that uses choir or choir samples, sometimes you might really fall in love with it and you might make this cool piece of music, but you know, if the client doesn't like it, it has to go. And maybe you're not as extreme as me, and maybe you'll just hit that little mute button for some later date when they want it back. But I'm kind of extreme and I'm like, delete, get out of my presence. So anyway, let's move on. So the request was, at this moment, let's add something different to replace it. But they like the percussion and the increased intensity. That's because I added, you can kind of see my crazy percussion here. This was all audio data that I chopped up to try to fit into this new tempo. Oh, what a nightmare. So I can already hear that the strings are super quiet. Let's fix that. So this guy here looks like the whole track could use some help. So I'm going to go over here before my reverb, and let's add, it's probably my most used plugin in existence. It's the L1 Plus Ultra Maximizer by Waves. I don't use a lot of Wave plugins, but this is one that is kind of a must-have if you only could get one Waves plugin, because it keeps the limiter, it keeps it at negative 0.1. That way it can't peak, but it also increases the volume by a certain amount. And you can set the bit size of your session. So mine's 24, and I like to leave the other things alone. And it just does an incredible job of making something louder without ever having to boost it. And I can already see a danger right here. See how this says, you can see that it says plus 1.8. I'm actually going to reset that to 0 and then increase this a little bit more to 5. And we should hear a big difference. I'm also going to EQ it after the volume bump so that any of those weird artifacts from time stretching are not affected. Sounds a little bit better. Yeah, so I mean, when you're dealing with audio that's already super quiet, you just got to do the best you can with it. And this is really the only time that I would advise using plus numbers, using positive numbers with EQ. Because in this situation, I'm just trying to fix the sound because it's so bad. It's very buried. And if I'm desperate, you know, I might just pull up a MIDI instrument and play on top of it. But I don't really want to learn what all those notes are. I like the composition. The team likes the composition, so I don't want to mess that up. They might really like that string part, so it doesn't serve any purpose to replace it. But what it does serve well is let's try to add another instrument in the mix of this. Playing with my chain order a little bit, I want to put the Ultra Maximizer last. I did a little bump in the reverb, which could help. Now it has a little brightness to it without the low end cutting through all those weird artifacts. I don't want any of that stuff to come through. So it has a little boost to the highs without being super high. And the reverb space kind of cleans up some of that mess. And then the volume bump definitely helps a lot. Cool. In fact, it's actually probably too loud, especially once I put a ozone on top. It'll really emphasize those mids, so let's not overpower that. Anyway, I need to add, in order to hit the producer's note, I need to add something. So I'm gonna let you guys in a little secret. You guys, that's right, you, right now watching, all 12 of you watching in this second. This is a little bit of secret knowledge, but let's be honest, not everyone watches these live streams because they're really long. And most people bail out right here in the middle. So this is the perfect time to share some industry secrets. I'm working on my first commercial sample library. It is a hammered dulcimer. It's pretty sweet. So I'm going to let you in to hear it for the first time ever in public eyes, ears, from your ear holes, your eye holes. I'm going to let you in on it. It's this guy right here. Now this is a prototype. Don't scream at me. And I'm really excited because this is my first time partnering with a sample instrument company where I'm actually creating it, and I have a prototype, and it's pretty awesome. Here's what it looks like. It's built with contact. Again, prototype, so don't ask for it. But it sounds like this. Oh, no, it doesn't. It sounds like nothing unless I hit my record button. Guys, it sounds awesome. But yeah, this is going to be freaking amazing. I've never used a good hammered dulcimer VST. I've never seen one that I like, never heard one that I like that sounds real at all. Most ethnic instruments to me sound like garbage because they're not real, or they're from a keyboard, or they're sampled really poorly, but I'm really pumped. I can't share all the details, but that's all I can say about it without breaching stuff. But yeah, I'm going to be using this. I'm choosing this sound because this musician is actually one of the leading musicians in the world for these ethnic instruments. He has a really cool setup, and this is the exact musician that I hire regularly for this podcast and for this soundtrack. So it just made perfect sense that I would have some of his samples at my fingertips. And the conversation turned into, what if we actually turn this into a commercial library? And so I'm going to be partnering with a pretty notable sample library company to turn this into a reality. It's going to be really, really sick. But anyway, this is a super prototype that I made, and I'm really happy with it. But anyway, I've already used it later in the track, but the whole purpose is anyone who listens to this soundtrack, it's going to sound exactly like any of the other dulcimer audio that I use in those tracks. So I feel like this would be a perfect time to add it in to this B section. So let's see what we can feel out here. That sounds so quiet to me. Let me turn it up a little bit. If I have to turn it down later, that's fine. It's also because I don't have ozone on, so everything's quiet. Oh, you can't see me. There we go. it in. Let's see what we can do. I like the idea of making this the melody for the first half of this B section and then tossing it off to someone else. I might just grab a different choir or something, or maybe I should just nix the choir. Yeah, I like choir, but it's not the answer that the devs want. Those are my notes. Cool. G minor, C minor, C diminished 7, G minor. I like that. Guys, I have never written so many diminished chords in my life until I started working with this team. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I'm so inspired to write these like medieval diminished 7 chords, but they're everywhere and they work. And it sounds so cool. But yeah, that's just become my sound for the last couple of years on all these shows with Full and Scholar Productions. Anyway, back to the show. Let's do it. Oh, I can't count to 6. I'm a musician. I don't know how to do that. Oh gosh, is this in 7? Oh Lord, have mercy. It's not my lack of counting ability. It's I don't know my own track. Dun, 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 dun. Like that end, I think that's gonna work well. And before I lose my mind, I'm gonna create a second track so I can have some outtakes. Put mute. If I'm gonna do that, I have to get rid of that. Let me mute that region. Very useful Pro Tools thing. Do one more pass. You guys like that? I think that's a pretty cool addition to I also love that this hammer dulcimer is not perfectly pitched. Yep, gotta learn my own notes. You ready? So I did. Yeah, so G minor, C minor, A, D, G minor, C minor, G. Get it. I told you I didn't want to do this today, but we got to do it, okay? So just bear with me. Give me words of wisdom or kitten emojis or something. I need something, guys. Oh, that's it. E major. Isn't that crazy how it diminished? Not diminished. It's an augmented chord. It's an E major. How just doing an augmented all of a sudden makes it feel foreign. All right. Gonna get this, guys. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. There's my email. Don't read that. Blast. Yay, kitten emojis. That's really cute, actually. For the record, I have 2 cats. Love cats. I also love dogs. However, they are super high maintenance, and I have 5 kids, and there's just no way. Anyway, back to the show. By the way, I think I'm getting better with my cameras. Do you agree? Disagree? Do you think I'm getting worse with my cameras? That is also probably a possibility. It's a high possibility. I really do like this hammered, the tremolo. By the way, now that I'm thinking about it, I totally need to program an actual tremolo patch, like a separate patch. I think that'd be wise, or at least a button that you hold a chord and it tremolos, because this manual playing thing, that it sounds okay. It's not the best. Thankfully, I'm going to have a professional programmer actually do this, but I'm trying to build a prototype to prove that it's going to be awesome. Chance making fun of my camera. It's actually exactly, I think exactly where it's been. This right here. I mean, I can play with it. Woo! What do you think? Better? Worse? Breaking stuff? Nah, I liked it. I liked where it was. I like that you can see my hands on my keyboard and my computer keyboard, like my MIDI controller. Now I just feel awkward. Now you're like staring at my chest or stuff. Chance, why'd you have to say that? Now I'm all self-conscious. Jerk. If I start sucking, blame Chance. Everybody give him a face. Oh, Lord. Well, in the meantime, I'm just gonna... See, it like affects everything. Isn't that crazy? Things to not do during a live stream. Don't pander to your crowd. Because then stuff like stuff like this happens. Remember that moment when he changed the cameras? Oh, cool. We'll just do an upside down stream. That sound good? I blame you, Chance, for all my shortcomings. But for real, like what's happening right now? Ta-da! That looks exactly the same, except worse. Oh, Chance. Oh, please. Yeah, I'm going to totally upgrade this setup one day. We're all going to be way happier. Oh, great. Now everything's slanted. Once again, I blame Chance because he's a target in this moment. Yeah, I hate webcams for the record. They're just dumb. Ta-da, I'm super crooked forevermore. Thank you, Chance. It's okay, Chance. I'll make it up to you one day. One day I'll be perfect. I'll be perfect for you, Chance. Whatever. At this point, I don't even care. I'm just gonna write some music. Is that cool with you guys? Let's do this. Let's get this over with. Way to go, Chance. I'm so crooked. It's hilarious. Oh, that better? Maybe. Well, I guess I gotta end the stream now. Cool. What is that note? That's so funny when the whole track is minor. You throw in a major chord and you're like, what are those notes? Note to self, never listen to Chance again. No, I wouldn't do that. You have good ideas every once in a while. Man, when you have a bad one. Oh Lord, it's okay. I'm full of bad ideas all the time. Okay, cool. I think I figured out this ridiculousness. Does anyone know how to merge MIDI? Ugh, what am I talking about? I was going to say in Pro Tools, but there's a thing for that. It's called Edit, Consolidate Clip. It works for audio and the MIDI. Woohoo! Welcome to the stream music phrase. I really hope you missed the last 5 minutes. I almost beat up Chance online. This line, I think that's going to work well. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Just record that in. I think it's more natural whenever you roll hammer dulcimer. It's kind of like a harp. Gets Nice, it rolls in there. Yeah, that's gonna work great. Cool. So that's that. So it can't really exist by itself, but it's a nice line to have in there. And I think I'll just go ahead and merge these two. Please behave, clips. Why isn't there a right-click merge function? That should be a thing. There we go. Consolidate clip. Sounds like this. Somewhere my horns are hiding in here. Yeah, it's this thing right here. Yeah, this melody trumpet needs all kinds of love. I'm just going to copy over my string settings from earlier. We'll do a little bit of tweaking. So my EQ, for example, it probably needs to be the same. Sounds like this. Sounds good. Maybe a little bit less. Right there. I'm also feeling like, yeah, I already have these panned. So notice that the hammer dulcimer, I panned 31 degrees right. Just to get it right, like not centered. Why should be? It's not a main instrument, it shouldn't be centered. Now, just so that we can have, go to my mix. Actually, don't do that. I want to add ozone back in just so we can get some more of this oomph. This feels very wimpy right now.